Hello and welcome. I'm Adrian. Now, I designed this short class with my mother in mind so that she can continue to enjoy her active lifestyle. We will be working on core and lower body. This class is perfect for everybody. So we are going to start on the ground. I'm going to use this trigger point ball. So this is just a firm ball. I believe it is a lacrosse ball I have here. Anything similar will work. Maybe a tennis ball, whatever you've got lying around. Now I'm going to take this ball and I'm placing it underneath my right glute. You will see I've crossed my right leg over my left just to expose that tissue. Lay down and just place the ball under a meaty part of your glute. Here I'm resting on that ball and just feeling around. I can move around a little bit. Feel free to do the same. You're trying to find areas of sensitivity and just let your body, let the tissue melt into the ball. This is an area of our body that we are trying to wake up. So we're using the pressure in order to connect our brain to our glutes, the big, powerful muscle of our lower body. You'll notice I'm moving around ever so slightly, just exploring, trying to find areas of tightness. And when I find something, I'm just chilling out, letting gravity do the work. Nice. Let's transition over to the other side. So I'm crossing my left leg over my right, using my foot to elevate my hip, and I'm placing that ball underneath my left glute. Moving around ever so slightly. Notice I've listed ever so slightly to the left, just to really get in deep. This is a great daily practice. We're using it to hydrate the tissue, as well as, like I said, connecting our brain to this really important area of our body. Great preparation for the work ahead. And you can spend a lot of time doing this. Relax, sink into it, connect to your body. This feels good. Great. Fantastic. You can rest there. I'm just going to place this ball to one side here. Now you're moving into your half kneeling hip stretch. Here, you're going to position yourself on the mat. Now, it is a good idea to place something underneath your knee. You can use a cushion, which will really be helpful here. So how you're set up in this kneeling position. Ideally, your knee is stacked directly below your pelvis or your hip. And then you're building your upper body directly above that. So notice my ribs, shoulders, and head should be all stacked above your hip there. Now I have my toes tucked behind me. You can play around with untucking them. I'm going to keep mine tucked for this exercise. Here, I'm growing nice and tall, and I'm just ever so slightly squeezing my right glute. The idea is we're opening up the tissue in the front of the hip. So if we think about it, we spend a lot of time in our day with our hip flexed, sitting down for long periods. This is a phenomenal stretch to open up the tissue through the front of the hip. So here I am using my breathing. I'm inhaling to grow a little bit taller. And then as I exhale, just squeezing my glute a little bit more, encouraging the opening through the front of the right hip. Yeah, that feels good. You can even push that right hip forward. Feel that stretch. Make sure you're not collapsing into your lower back. I do not want to see you leaning back. That's going to compress the lower vertebrae. So make sure you're staying nice and long and you're stretching through the front of the hip. Good, let's change sides. So we're doing the exact same on the other side. So here I am, just making sure I'm nice and tall, squeezing that left glute ever so slightly, encouraging this opening through the front of the left hip. Big deep breaths, grow tall as you inhale. Exhale, let's just try and push the front of the hip a little bit further forward. Now remember, do not let the abdomen stretch out and the lower back extend. We want to make sure the rib cage stays tucked in and you stay nice and long. We're trying to open up and free that tissue in the front of your left hip. So just work on that. You might feel the stretch all the way down to the front of the knee. That's great. Those quads, they need some lengthening too. Hang out here for another moment. Nice. So now let's come down onto all fours. So make your way down and just rest on all fours here. Here we're going to move into our core exercise, bird dog. So this exercise, you're on all fours, hands really directly below your shoulders, knees below your hips, in this tabletop-like position. Now the idea here is you're reaching your right arm and left leg, and then coming back down, smoothly transitioning to the other side. I like to think you're balancing a glass of water on your lower back as you move through this exercise. Now the idea here is we're keeping our midsection from moving. I'm extending my arm and leg, the opposing arm and leg, and then a smooth transition without the midsection moving at all. I'm imagining I'm balancing that glass of water on my lower back, and I do not want that glass to spill. Ideally, through our daily life, through exercise, we can move our limbs without disturbing our midsection. We want our midsection to stay connected. So this is a great exercise to train our brain, to teach our body how to move efficiently. Smooth transitions. Try exhaling as you extend and then inhaling as you bring your hands back to the ground. Continue these smooth transitions. Don't worry about trying to lift the arm and leg really high. Just lift them to a point where you're able to maintain the middle. Keep that glass of water balanced on your back there. It's a passive exercise, but it's really important for the health and well-being of our body. Protects our lower back, teaches us how to move. Let's do a couple more. Out and down. Out and down. That's great. So we've rolled our glutes, we've done our bird dog and our half kneeling hip stretch. Now we're going to move to the ground. So here on the ground, we are going to perform a leg lower, which is a great core exercise. I have my hands rested on my abdomen. I'm going to float my feet just off the ground. Notice my knees are relaxed, so my heels are just sagging above the ground. From here, inhale, and as you exhale, you are going to extend one leg. Inhale, bring that leg back. Exhale, drive the other leg out. Take your time as you do this. Work with your breath. My hands are on my midsection because I want to monitor the bottom of my front ribs. I'm exhaling as I extend one leg. When I do that, I do not want to feel the rib cage lifting. My rib cage needs to stay firm and it's not allowed to flare. Keeping the ribs in place is going to protect my lower back. Now, you can make adjustments here if need be. You can keep one leg on the ground, exhale, and extend the other. Change sides. My foot is on the ground, exhale, extending. Or if you're feeling really good about yourself, you can just hang one leg out there. I've extended my right leg, and I'm just going to leave it there as I take inhalations. Inhale, exhale. I can even feel a little bit of shaking going on now. This is challenging. Bring that leg in, extend the other leg, let it hang out there. Feel the abdomen working, managing your midsection. Just like the bird dog, I do not want any movement through the midsection as I'm moving my legs. We're teaching the limbs to move independently of our midsection. Nice, relax there. You should really feel your midsection warmed up now. From here, let's move into a bridge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to inhale, and as I exhale, I'm lifting my hips up off the ground. Feet are flat on the ground, and here I'm squeezing my glutes. Now, what I want you to monitor again is the position of your rib cage. My hands are on the bottom of the front of my ribs. Now, I'm making sure, and I'm even looking down my body to make sure my rib cage is not flaring. If my rib cage is flaring, that tells me my lower back is doing the work instead of my glutes. So here, you can just hang out, use your exhalation. That might help you feel your core a little more and squeeze your glutes. So again, we're working on opening the front of the hips while managing our midsection. Try this. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, relax your glutes, bring them back down to the earth, and then exhale, squeeze your glutes, drive back up. Great, take your time. Inhale, come down. Exhale, squeeze your glutes. Squeeze them together. Push your hips up. Do not let the ribs flare. Inhale, down. Exhale, come up and hold once more. Staying in this position. Squeeze the bottom of your glutes as hard as you can, doing your best not to let your rib cage flare. Nice. Come down and relax, take a moment. Okay, now we're going to repeat the last two exercises. So we're starting with the leg lowers. I'm going to have my hands monitoring my midsection. I'm lifting my legs, exhaling as I extend one leg at a time. Now, some things to note. You really want to feel your abdominal muscles working. So really focus on that. You can even add a little bit of force to your exhalations to feel the deep abdomen maintaining this position. Exhale with force. Concentrate on the core working. Now, if you start to feel your lower back doing the work, this isn't a problem, but what I would suggest is just adjust how far you're moving the leg. See if you can feel the core instead of your lower back. You can even put one foot down and extend the other leg, just as we played around with in the last set. Now remember, if you really want to challenge yourself, how about just keeping your leg out there as you take inhalations and forceful exhalations. I can really feel my core working here. I'm going to hang out a little bit, challenge myself. I suggest you do the same, but work to your level. Good. I'm going to change sides. Keep that left leg out there. Inhale and exhale, and I'm bringing that back in. So you've got options there to challenge yourself. Explore your body. Be conscious of what is happening. Now let's move back into the bridge. Let's start with a hold. We'll do some reps and we'll finish with a hold. So I'm going to inhale. I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer to my glutes. Exhale and come on up. And you can play around with the position of your feet. Maybe you have your feet a little bit wider. Maybe you have them a little further away from your glutes or even a little closer. What I want you to be feeling here is that big musculature of your glutes working, squeezing in order to open up the front of the hips. So very similar to our half kneeling hip stretch, this is a great exercise to combat long hours of sitting. Here I'm working my glutes, I'm keeping my core contained, not letting the rib cage flare, and I'm opening up the front of the hips. Loads of good stuff going on. Now let's move. So you're going to inhale as you come down. Exhale, squeeze your glutes, drive up. Remember, the rib cage should not be flaring. We're protecting our lower back here. We're learning to contain our midsection while we move our hips. Simple movements, but really important fundamentals. Inhale down, exhale up. Let's hold at the top here. I really want you to challenge yourself a little bit. Try and squeeze your glutes a little bit harder. And let's play around with opening up the knees and then bringing the knees towards one another. When you're doing this, do not let the hips drop. Keep the hips high, keep the bottom of your glutes squeezed, but just a small out and in with the knees. You should really feel the glutes working here. Maintaining this great position, this great posture. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. I really feel my glutes there. I hope you do too. Let's take our time and stand up. So from here, you are going to grab a small looped band. I'm going to place this around my ankles. So what we are now going to do is we're going to perform some toe taps. So here I'm performing a small squat and I'm going to shift over into my left hip. So I've shifted my weight onto my left leg. There's hardly any weight on my right. I'm leaning forward ever so slightly. And then I'm just doing a small tap with my right leg. So tapping and back. The work is happening on the left side here. So I'm really feeling my left glute maintain this position. Tap and back. You may want to make small adjustments to the position so that you feel the glute working. That may mean you lean forward ever so slightly, or maybe even shift to the outside of your left hip a little bit more. Tap and back. I'm going to change sides and also show you a slightly different angle of this exercise. So take a look. Now I'm squatting down ever so slightly. My weight is forward. I'm shifting into the outside of my right hip. I have my hand on the outside of my right glute because I want to feel this area expand as it gets loaded. From here, I'm tapping my left foot and I'm really feeling the work around the glute. This is the same area we rolled earlier. Remember when we were waking up our glute with that trigger point ball? We were doing that so we can feel it more during this exercise. Keep that going. Right leg does not move. Weight is forward. Left leg is doing the movement. Right leg is working to stabilize. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh, I felt that cooking. I'm going to put the band aside and we're going to now perform some lunges. So this is a great lower body exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stagger my stance. So I'm facing forward, I've stepped my right leg behind my left. From here, we're going to start with a static lunge. I'm descending my right knee towards the ground and then standing back up. Simple exercise, but great for working the hip complex and all of the musculature of our lower body. Staying nice and upright, always staying tall, descend and up, down and up. So we've woken up the core, we've woken up our glutes. Now we're putting this into a more complex movement that is the lunge. Just keep this movement going. You could also play around with a reverse lunge. So now I'm stepping backwards, I'm descending and I'm stepping forward. During the reverse lunge, keep the majority of your weight on your front leg. Step back, down, step forward. Let's change sides. So I've got my right leg forward now. Let's do the static lunge first. Descending and standing. Down and up. Again, simple exercises, but incredibly effective when performed often and performed well. I'm down. I'm feeling my legs work. This feels great. Good. Now I'm going to try the reverse lunge. Back, descend, and forward. So these are all great exercises you can perform on your own, really at any time. This is a toolbox. Things that you can just go to when you feel like you need to move your body a little bit. That's the idea. I'm stepping back, descending, stepping forward. Now let's repeat those last two exercises to finish out. I'm grabbing the band again, toe taps. The great thing about repeating some of these exercises is you're just thinking about how did it feel last round compared to this round. So with the toe taps, I'm sitting down slightly, I'm shifting into the outside of my hip, and then I'm tapping. So we've started on the left side. My weight is slightly forward. I'm tapping my right leg. Slow, methodical movement, making sure you're feeling that left glute. Remember, try and keep your weight slightly forward. Feel that left glute stabilizing the left leg. Right leg is moving. Let's go about 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2 to go, and 1 more. Good. I'll demonstrate from side on. Sitting down, shifting into the right glute, tapping the left leg. So the goal here, keep your weight forward, keep the energy or the work in the outside of the right hip. Take your time, go slow with it. Really feel that burn. Oh, this feels good. You can even put a little bit of pressure into the big toe of that right foot. See how that changes things. You might feel your glute a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2 to go, 2, and 1. Ooh, yeah, I feel that. Let's put aside the band and let's finish strong with some lunges. So let's just start with the reverse lunges. Try alternating sides. So I'm stepping back with my left, descending and standing, stepping back with my right and forward. So keep alternating here. Again, you should be warm by now. You should recognize this pattern from the last round. Take your time with it. Descend. Feel the work happening all around the hips. Glutes, quads, your inner thigh might be working a little bit. Down and up. If you're feeling really good, you can even speed this up or slow it down. How about taking 4 seconds to descend, 4 seconds to stand? Let's try that on the other side. Step back, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll try speeding it up. A little bit quicker. Back and forward. Back and forward. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. Hey, that felt really great. A simple and effective workout. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.